Hello, my name is Midden, and I'm a new Time Lord. I'm the Doctor's 11th incarnation, and I'm cuter than the actual 11th incarnation. I'm just kidding. Please don't flame me. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 47 of Discovering Doctor Who, the final review that I will be talking about David Tennant as the Doctor, except for when he appears in the 50th anniversary, but that's still a while to go. But obviously today the episode, or episodes rather, I'm talking about is The End of Time, the two-parter finale, and I'm actually going to be switching up the format a bit today because of my feelings overall about these two episodes. And I apologize as always for the background noise. My little kitty is playing around here and I actually don't know what she's playing with. But anyway, to get things started, let's start with my annoyances for these two episodes. And okay, sorry, I was going to sort of generalize there for a second, but let's get right into it. Number one, Wilf's friends were really, they ranged from annoying to just kind of useless, in my opinion. It's like, I get that obviously Wilf is, he has a life and friends outside of just the circle that we've seen in previous episodes, but I don't know, the way they were utilized in these episodes, and then the one, I can't remember her name, Millie or something like that. I will admit that it was funny when she was grabbing the 10th Doctor's butt, but I just said it twice there. But I don't know, it just felt kind of useless and just a lot of, well, not a lot, thankfully, but just padding, really, for the first episode that they appeared in. Maybe not so much the second episode, because they only appeared for like a few seconds, but yeah, it was just that first episode, they were just there for padding to basically extend the length of the episode, which wasn't necessary at all. But I'll get to that in a little bit. My second annoyance with these two episodes was the Master. Or, as I'm going to put him in the annoyances, the Master / Goku from Dragon Ball Z / Gollum from Lord of the Rings / a Sith Lord from Star Wars. Because I don't know if Russell T Davies couldn't make up his mind about what he wanted the Master to be, or if for what I assume is his last hurrah, he just wanted him to be completely chaotic, which came across in the CGI face fizzling in and out. That I actually did kind of like that effect, because it was a very interesting display of how his resurrection went wrong. But the rest of it was just, if he was trying to portray it as chaotic, then why did the Master have such easy control over these powers? Like, he could just all of a sudden fly, or not, maybe not fly, but jump really high and land exactly where he wanted to. And then when he has the Sith Lord lightning bolt powers, it's not like, it's uncontrollable by him, it's just he knows exactly what he's doing. And I know you can only apply logic so far in shows like this, but it really just seemed like they had no real idea what they were doing going into this for the Master. It was just like, oh yeah, he kind of goes crazy, but he hasn't gone crazy because he's in control. But he has gone crazy because he's acting like Gollum. And if you watched my reaction video, I mean, that's one of the main impressions I got from him, especially when it came to food or when he was talking really fast. He was basically just being Gollum. Just not making complete sense, but
being very, very fast, kind of Gollum if he was on speed, and it's very annoying.
And it just, even though I don't have a lot of experience with the Master, obviously he appears a lot more in the classic series. Just the impression I got of him from his previous appearance is that he's a very methodical, very smart, very crafty character, which does come across once or twice in these episodes, but not in the same way that you would expect the Master to be. Which, again, I know can be attributed to the resurrection going wrong, but still, it just seemed like the Master wasn't actually there, except for maybe when he first appeared during the resurrection, and then right there at the end, before he went out. But I'll move on from that. Number 3 annoyance with this episode was the Naismiths, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but the millionaire himself, I think it was Joshua Naismith, he was okay. The actor seemed to be, like, he seemed to be giving a decent performance, but the campiness for the role was over the top. It just felt way too overdramatic. And that leads us into the daughter, who I really can't remember her name, but the daughter. And again, I don't know. It's like I said in my reaction video, I don't know if she's just not a good actress, or if she was just being way too overly dramatic. It was just really annoying, and couldn't get into the characters at all. They were there for such a short period of time. Why should I care that they're millionaires? I don't know. Again, this is something I'm gonna come back to a little bit later in the video, but moving on from there. Number 4 annoyance with this episode, and I feel bad because I can't remember the species' actual name, but the Cactus aliens. Now, given they were good for a few funny moments here or there, but overall they were just annoying. It felt completely unnecessary to be there in any form. They basically just served the platform for the Doctor and Wilf to escape partway through to get to their space station. But otherwise, they just felt completely unnecessary. I don't know. And maybe not so much unnecessary as, again, it was just bad acting. The acting wasn't convincing at all for me. They literally just seemed like a couple of people that threw on Halloween costumes, which I know has happened a lot throughout this show, but they had no alien qualities to them except for the green skin and the spikes on their heads. I would expect them to act at least a little bit non-human, given all the different alien beings that are in the show. Like, I mean, even the Time Lords, they are the ones that are literally the closest to humans, and they act, their personalities are in general different from that of humans. Again, but yeah, okay, so the Cactus people. Moving on. My number 5 annoyance with this episode was the whole Return of the Time Lords deal. And I'll only touch on this for a second because I'm gonna mention something later again that kind of encapsulates it all, but I just feel like it had no weight to it, especially for people like me who haven't watched the classic Doctor Who. Like, I know that what's going on with the Time Lords, especially the leaders of the Time Lords, and how they're apparently very twisted now, carries some weight and is a reflection of maybe events that occurred in the past on the classic Who. But for people like me who are brand new to it, it's just like, okay, well, that's surprising. I thought the Time Lords were good people, but apparently they're really just jerks. and want to bring on the end of time, which seems a little drastic. Just a little. But yeah, again, I'll get back to that later. The number 6 annoyance with this episode, and it's really very simple, the Master Race. No, far be it from me to refuse a good pun, because I love puns. They are hilariously painful. But the Master Race, the entire planet's been turned into master clones, and they refer to them as the Master Race. Even just beyond that pun, though, I don't know, just the way it was executed and the way everything was portrayed, I feel like it was a really bad combination of the CGI, having to have, one person play all these different roles, and the way it was synced up, along with just the perceived weight of it all. I mean, it kind of comes back to that too. It's like, on one hand, the entire human race has been turned into copies of the Master, who is a Time Lord. So they're all Time Lords now, essentially. But I don't know, I couldn't get past the element of just how ridiculous it felt. And that's really all it felt to me for the most part, was ridiculous. Like, Barack Obama gets turned into the Master, and the person portraying Barack Obama didn't look remotely like Barack Obama. They used sound clips of him beforehand from old speeches, and yeah, just long story short, the Master Race thing just didn't work for me. And final specific annoyance with this episode was the overall lackluster music, in my opinion. There were some exceptions. There are definitely some exceptions in this episode, especially the final song, the song that the Ood sing as the Doctor begins his regeneration transformation. But overall, the episodes, their music just felt kind of generic, really, in the end. It just felt like what you would see on any other Doctor Who episode, and even though I didn't comment on it, as wonderful as the music was in the previous episode, how powerful it was, I just expected more from this finale, especially with it being Tennant's, last big hurrah. But I can't get everything you want, I guess. But yeah, the final annoyance was just the lackluster music. It just didn't really do it for me for the most part. Again, with some exceptions. And just to sort of encapsulate all of that and my other annoyances with this episode, I feel like the story was maybe not well, it was a combination of not written well and very poorly paced. And this is like my overall annoyance with these two episodes. Which actually, now that I think about it, I will come back to that in my final thoughts. Let's get on to happy things. Let's get away from all this negativity. Let's get into my favorite parts of these episodes. The first of which is Wilfred Mott. I love that man, and I feel so bad because I'm forgetting the actor's name, Bernard something, I'll put the name here, but I absolutely love him, and he does such a good job throughout these two episodes. He really does. I would say he's probably, I would say other than my final favorite that I'm going to mention here, he's the best part of these two episodes. By far. I love the whole hunt, well, except for his friends, obviously. I love the hunt for the Doctor. The conversations he has with the Doctor, those real heart-to-heart conversations. The way he reacts to some of the things the Doctor says. The way he pours his heart out to the Doctor when he doesn't want him to die. when he's trying to give him the gun, when the Doctor breaks down in front of him and starts crying. When the Doctor, when he's trying to convince the Doctor to leave him because he's an old man and, just let him be because he wants the Doctor to live on. It just... he was so good, and I know it's extremely unlikely going forward, but I would absolutely love to see Wilf appear again at some point in the future of Doctor Who. Again, I know it's extremely unlikely, but I would absolutely love it. Now, my number 2 favorite of these episodes, even though she had very little screen time, Lucy Saxon. I was honestly very surprised by the way that her character was executed in in the first episode of The End of Time. I did think it was a little bit, more than a little bit hokey that, okay, well, she actually did know that this was going to happen and would have, a magic potion to try and get rid of the Master when he was resurrected. But that aside, the fact that she didn't just lay down, she was obviously devastated that the Master was coming back, that people would actually want to revive him, but she did whatever she could to stop it. She didn't just lay down, she didn't just let it sit back and scream. She did whatever she could to destroy him, and although it admittedly failed, she did cause some major damage to the Master and interrupted his revival, basically. So, just because of what she did, and basically sort of redeemed herself in the end, my cat. I just really liked Lucy Saxon in these episodes. So yeah, number 2 favorite. My number 3 favorite for these 2 episodes was the Lord President, Time Lord, or Timothy Dalton, who portrayed him. And I tell you what, although I didn't care for the Time Lords returning overall, the man's voice alone could melt icebergs. I mean, when it doesn't matter if you're a guy, if you're a woman, gay, straight, whatever, you hear this guy's voice, you're at attention. And I think that's really what, they were going for when they cast him for this role. And he just did a great job. He really did. Of everything that had to do with the Time Lords, with one exception that's going to come up right next, he was definitely the best part of it. And I really liked it when he was on screen. I didn't necessarily like what was going on. And actually, I guess this could have been an annoyance as well. His gauntlet being able to do whatever the hell it wanted, or whatever the hell he wanted it to do, I don't know, it just seems a bit overpowered to me. I know stuff like that can exist, but it just seems out of place in, in the world of Doctor Who, where, there is some logic to a point, but then it's just like, oh, I move my hand and this person disintegrates. I move my hand and everyone on Earth turns back into a human. I don't know. But I don't want to get back into the negatives there. Again, the Lord President, played by Timothy Dalton, great job. I really did enjoy that. Now, my 4th favorite part of these episodes, and I looked and looked, could not find a name, the woman. The woman that appears to Wilf. The woman that looks at the Doctor and basically points out to him what he needs to do, or what he can destroy in order to stop the link, rather than having to shoot either the Lord President or the Master. And I guess I'm going to go on kind of a theory here, because, and this is just the way that came off to me, and it had to do with Wilf and the Doctor both referring to, well, Wilf saying that he would have been proud to be the Doctor's father, and the Doctor saying that he would have loved to have Wilf as a father. I think she's the Doctor's mom. If there's any at all, like, substance to that theory, please tell me. Because, I don't know, in my mind, it's the only thing that makes sense. And it's the only reason why, in my mind, well, maybe not the only reason, but one of the reasons why the Doctor wouldn't say anything about who she is. So, yeah. The woman, as I guess I will have to refer to her. She was, by far, one of the best parts of these 2 episodes. Number 5 favorite of these 2 episodes, The Master's Revenge. As much as the Master, in his new state, I didn't care for it. Well, I will say one thing. He was funny, which is definitely one thing that I was used to from the last time he appeared on the show. But then also his final revenge when he uses his Dragon Ball Z / Sith powers on the Lord President, and he basically sacrifices himself to save the Doctor. Well, not really save the Doctor. It was mostly motivated by revenge, but just that whole aspect. And again, it's like, if you only look at it as revenge, it's just revenge, but I saw it as sort of a heroic deed, not necessarily something that redeemed him completely, at least, but it did have some redemption to it, and he did what was in the end the right thing. So I really did like, again, that aspect of the episodes. Now, my final favorite part of these 2 episodes is the final 20-ish minutes of the episode. Now, I've seen some of the commenters talk about how they feel like, and some other, a lot of the fandom felt like the ending there went on too long. It was almost like a Return of the King from Lord of the Rings, where it had the really long, overly done ending. And me personally, while the Return of the King ending definitely did bother me the first few times I saw it, I feel like this one was overall done better. Again, in my opinion. I feel like getting to see all the different characters, or at least a lot of the different characters that had been with the Doctor over the course of time, and seeing how far they had come since then. Or in Rose and her mom's case. I'm forgetting her name! I forgot Rose's mom's name. Oh well. But other than that being in the past, technically, I just really like getting to see them all again, and it was just sort of that nice little last wrap up before, basically Russell T Davies' end of the run, David Tennant's the end of his run. And especially since Davies wasn't going to be part of the show anymore. I have no idea if they're actually going to reuse any of those characters except for the 10th Doctor. Who knows? But for me, it was really nice to see all of that, and to just get... It was just a nice little wrap up, in my opinion, leading up to the Doctor's regeneration, which, when Ood Sigma comes in and they sing, and the line he says about, the song is ending but the story never ends, and just that last 20 minutes, it runs you through such a gamut of emotions, like, happy, sad, worried. Wilf had me crying there in that very last scene we see him in. It was just so well done, so good, and even though I've repeated this several times, just such a good wrap-up for the end of the show. And then it leads into the 11th Doctor being born, and the TARDIS getting destroyed, which I did see, before I record this, I did see one comment that someone left, is that apparently the Doctor can hold off his regeneration for a time, but the longer he holds it off, it causes a lot of feedback, I guess you could say, or a lot of destruction, hence all the damage that it did to the TARDIS. But yeah, again, the final 20 minutes of these 2 episodes were, I would say, probably some of the best that this show has put out. At least feelings-wise. Maybe not the best acting or whatever, but just the feelings that it brought forth. It was definitely some of the best that the show has offered so far in my run of watching it. And now, as always, before getting into my final thoughts on the episodes, I actually have 2 quotes of the episodes, each one from a different episode, obviously. The first one is during the conversation that the Doctor and Wilf are having at the cafe. And it's very simple, but it really did put a smile on my face. I can't remember if I caught it in the reactions or not, but basically the Doctor says, "I'm going to die." Wilf, "Well, so am I one day." The Doctor, "Don't you dare." Wilf says, "Alright, I'll try not to." It was just such a adorable, cute back and forth, and like I said, it really put a smile on my face. It was just such a well done little segment there. It perfectly timed, and it reminded me a lot of some of the lighthearted back and forth with Donna, which, again, Donna's my favorite companion, so there you go. My second quote of these episodes is the Doctor's final line, or the 10th Doctor's final line. And it's a line that honestly did break me down a bit, because it's just devastating, the look on his face when he says it. "I don't want to go." Oh. I don't think any of us wanted him to go. Or at least I know I didn't, because I just absolutely loved David Tennant as the Doctor. Really did a great job. But, okay, on to my overall thoughts on these episodes. I didn't care for it. I didn't care for the 2 episodes, to be completely honest. They had some great moments. It had some good, very funny moments from time to time, and the last 20 minutes, amazing. But the vast majority of these 2 episodes, I just couldn't get into it. I just couldn't. It just left me. It left me with a feeling that they just kind of wrote in these final 2 episodes. Like that, it was kind of like, okay, well, Russell T Davies was basically going out originally in the episode where Donna left, but no, they kept him on for a while longer, and this just kind of became a kind of poorly constructed sci-fi mishmash of different things. And I did notice before I recorded this, some people asked why, or they wish I hadn't cut out my reaction to the 11th Doctor appearing. And let me just put it this way. I cut out things either if I had no reaction whatsoever, or if it was just me chuckling. And I didn't have a reaction when the 11th Doctor appeared. I don't know why. I mean, I might have just stared at him, trying to take it in, but yeah, it was. I don't really have any opinion on the 11th Doctor so far. And maybe it's something I'll hit on more in the season recap, but I think maybe it has something to do with just the way that he was brought in, or the events leading up to it. I'm not entirely sure yet, but yeah, that's the reason why I didn't include my reaction to him appearing. It was because I didn't really have a reaction to it. And then just one last thought about these two episodes. I feel like one of its biggest flaws is that everything felt rushed. Well, a lot of stuff felt rushed and overall unexplained. And again, while the Time Lords and them returning and what happened to them might make more sense to someone that had seen Classic Who, had seen the events that led up to the Time Lords becoming jerks. For someone new, at least for me, I needed more explanation. Honestly, I wish that these two episodes and the events leading up to them, and the specials even, had been part of another season as a whole. Because I feel like it would have allowed us more time to sort of get used to the Doctor being alone. And it would have been really interesting to see an entire season of the Doctor being, for the most part, alone, or only having temporary companions. The way that would have dealt with his character, the way he would have evolved overall. And then had they split up the events of these episodes, like the Master coming back and the way, the botched resurrection messed with him, is like, had they spanned that over even 3 more episodes, but I would honestly, the first number that comes to mind for me is 4, and make it one part, make it part of one entire series, not just these segments of specials. It would have been so much better. It would have been much more fulfilling, in my opinion, for them to have done that. But yeah, that's just my overall thoughts on these episodes. I don't hate these episodes by any means. Like I said, there were some wonderful, amazing parts to it. But overall, I have to say I just didn't really care for them. If we're going on a 10-point scale here, I'd probably give it a 5 at the most, probably like a 4. It's the good parts, unfortunately for me, can't outweigh the major negatives with these episodes. But if I take all of the good parts by themselves and sort of separate them from the bad, there were elements for a really good episode, possibly 2 really good episodes, that just could have been executed and better written, in my opinion. Alright everyone, I know this video is going on for a bit, but before I sign out here, I do have one question for you all, and it's going to lead into the next video, and that is this. I would like to know what your favorite songs were from Season 4 and the specials. I mean, even if they're songs that might have been borrowed from previous seasons, I would like to know what your favorites are. And I'm actually going to set up a survey for this. And I'll provide a link down in the description. Hopefully I'll be able to provide others in case there are songs I forget. But I would like to know your favorite songs. If you want to write them down in the comments, that's fine, but please go to the survey and mark them down, because that is going to be part of the Season 4 recap, which is going to be coming up next. And I don't know how long that video is going to be, because I just have a lot to say about Season 4 and just the show so far as a whole. So everyone, thank you so very much, as always, for joining in, listening in, watching, and listening to me ramble for a while. This has been one heck of a season. I'm sorry, that sounded kind of weird. It's been one hell of a season. Yeah, that's like the word there. It's needed. It's been one hell of a season, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what comes next. I'm very apprehensive just because of how much I loved the 10th Doctor. But, you know, I was really apprehensive when the 9th Doctor left, and the 10th Doctor won me over pretty quickly, so we'll see what happens. All right, everyone, thank you very much. And again, please be sure to check out the survey down in the description below. I want to know your favorite songs from this season and the specials. And until next time, everyone, I'm Doctor Who, and Alonzi! Where's my screwdriver? Oh no, screwdriver. I forgot my screwdriver. Screwdriver!